When we are looking at stars from the ground, from the telescope on Earth, it's almost the same as when someone is under the water and looking at the sun. So you're gonna see the sun moving all around. You're not gonna see a very precise image. You're gonna see the sun moving because of the distortion of the light introduced by the water. It's more or less the same effect as when one is looking just above a road, for instance, in summertime. So you see this kind of deformation on the light, and when we look at a star, it's exactly the same effect. When we are looking at the star with a telescope like the one behind me, which is located on the ground, on the surface of the Earth, we are looking through the atmosphere. The atmosphere, from one side, it's really useful because without the atmosphere there will not be any life on Earth. But for the astronomers, the atmosphere can distort the images. So when we are looking at star, the light is coming from the star and then pass through the atmosphere, and because the atmosphere at different temperature, different pressure, the light is not going straight through the atmosphere. Instead, it's going to be distorted and it's going to follow different paths. So when we look at a star with a camera and a big telescope like this, instead of seeing just a single point, what we see is that the star, it's moving around and the light is completely distorted. And this is also what we are constructing telescopes in such different sites and on top of big mountains, because on top of big mountains you have less atmosphere to go through, and then the image quality is going to be better. So in order to compensate for these distortions, the astronomers came with an idea, which is actually to compensate with deformable mirror these deformations. This is called adaptive optics. And how adaptive optics works, we just need to measure the perturbation introduced by the Earth, by the atmosphere, and by the turbulence inside the atmosphere on the images. So we're going to measure the distortion that we see on the light, that we see on the images, and then we're going to compensate for this. So how do we compensate for this distortion? We are using a deformable mirror that's going to adapt itself, that's going to move exactly in an opposite way of what the atmosphere is introducing on our image. And this, we need to do it like 500 to 1,000 times per second, because the conditions of the atmosphere are changing really fast. The only issue is that we need bright stars. Why we need bright stars? Because we need to measure this distortion at a rate of 500 times per second or 1,000 times per second. So only bright stars can give us this information, and only with bright stars we can measure these distortions. And the fact is that on the sky there's not enough bright stars all over the places where the astronomer wants to observe. And if we just use this natural gas star that we have on the sky, it's something like less than 1% of the sky that can be observed with adaptive optics. So what we do here, and what we do in the new generation of adaptive optics system, is that we're going to create our own star. And for this we use a laser. So we propagate a laser into the sky up to a very high layer in the atmosphere, actually a sodium layer, and the interaction of the laser light with this sodium layer is going to create an artificial star, a laser guide star. So by doing this, we are increasing the fraction of the sky that can benefit from adaptive optics. And depending on the system, with the laser guide star right now, it's something like 30% of the sky that can be observed with a laser guide star adaptive optics system. But that doesn't solve another intrinsic issue of adaptive optics, which is that the correction that we can provide with our deformable mirror the improvement in the image quality, it's only working close to the star when you do the measurement. For instance, if you are using a laser guide star, you're going to have a good image quality, but only in a very small region close to your laser guide star. So what we are doing here is that instead of launching one laser, we are launching 5 lasers. We are creating an artificial constellation in a sense, an artificial laser guide star constellation in the sky, and we use this laser constellation to compensate over a much larger field. The field that we are able to compensate here with this system, it's like 10 to 15 times larger than the systems that are using only one laser guide star. And this is very important because now the astronomers have access to a larger part of the sky and they can access to a larger field of view. So the laser is produced on a laser service enclosure, which is basically the size of a container, which is on the side of the telescope. So inside this laser service enclosure, we have the laser bench. It's where we are producing this 50 watt laser beam at a very specific wavelength, which is 589 nanometer. Then we need to propagate this laser on the sky. And for that, we're gonna propagate the laser through a set of mirrors that's gonna bring the laser behind the secondary mirror of the telescope up to the top of the telescope actually, from where we have a small telescope, 45-50 centimeter telescope, that we use to propagate the laser onto the sky. And then we receive back this light coming from this 5 laser guide star through the telescope, and we send this light to the adaptive optics system, which is called Canopus. Inside Canopus, we have 5 sensors. Each one of them is looking at one of the stars, and they are always reading and looking at the star, measuring the disturbance. We use that signal, we use the signal coming from these 5 sensors to drive the deformable mirror. And the specificity of this system here is that we are not using only one mirror, but we are using 3 deformable mirrors. And that's the first system for astronomy that's using such large number of deformable mirrors. So once the light has been analyzed and has been compensated by the deformable mirror, we send it back to the scientific instruments. Right now we are using it with a near-infrared imager called GSAOI for the Gemini South Adaptive Optics Imager. And we can also send the light to a multi-object spectrograph. So this means that these instruments are going to benefit from the correction from the adaptive optics over this large field of view, and they're going to be able to see new details on the image that the previous system were not able to see. So that improves quite a lot the opportunities, the targets that people can observe, the science that can be done with adaptive optics.